Hey, what's up, guys? I am super excited about this King's Lance uh, buff, and it is absolutely nuts, dude. Um, it is way better than I thought it was going to be, and I just happen to have this one pretty much capped out in everything but frickin' crystallization thingies. Um, so I think if anybody can do a video about it, it'd be me. So let's look at the changes here, and they don't tell you everything in this. They don't tell you nearly everything and what you need to know here. Um, so anybody who's played with it before knew that you used to have to aim down sights to place a turret, which is still true. But then it would just sit there and do nothing. And you had to shoot it in order for it to shoot everything around it. And if an enemy got in front of it, then you wouldn't be shooting the turret, so then you'd only be hitting one guy instead of everything, and it would be an awful experience all around. And I kind of played around with this knowing that it was bad, but I also knew that they were going to buff it. And what I thought they were going to do is I thought they were just going to boost um, the damage percentage of the turret from, because it was about the same as what it is now. And I thought they were just going to boost it to like 30% or 40% or something like that. But no, they did way more than that. This thing is nuts now. Um, uh, so now you can place up to 3 turrets, and the turrets are fully autonomous. This thing turns Jaber into a joke. Uh, they they go absolutely nuts, and they use 100% of most of your gun's stats with the exception of the damage. So that means it gets full attack speed, full critical hit rate, full critical hit damage. Um, the status effect damage is based off the damage that it does, so I still think that's reduced. But it's 14.1%, which gives you 42.3%, or 40, yeah, 42.3% damage, which is almost a whole nother half a hero, except it's hitting everything at once. So if you factor that in, this thing is doing insane damage. And the radius, when you have this thing fully built up, is pretty big, and you'll see how big it is when I'm showing you in the lab. It's pretty big. It's I want to say it's about Luna noise surge radius when you have that capped out, maybe a tad smaller, but it's pretty big. The ammo cost per drop is very small. It's 5 ammo, dude. Come on. It's nuts. Um, duration of increase upon hit 6 seconds. That doesn't sound big, but it is, because the fire rate on this gun is already so nuts. In fact, it's one of the things they buffed was the fire rate. So just tapping it for like not even a whole second will pretty much fully fill up the time meter on the weapon up to its 40 seconds again, which is bonkers. You can just leave it sit there and it nukes stuff, and just a second out of your time for each turret is enough to fill it back up. It's insane. Um, so this right here is very misleading. It makes it seem like it only does 14.1% of the firearm damage. It does way more than that. Like I said, it still has your critical hit rate. It still has your critical hit damage. It still does your elemental damage, which means it also applies elemental effects. So it's applying burn, shock, whatever the acid one's called, toxin or something, chill, whatever you're doing. And that's just bonkers, dude. It's pretty crazy. So damage interval, same. So like I said, they got the same fire rate essentially. Damage range, 5 to 10. So yeah, that pops out there pretty far. And that's radius, remember. So that's really 20 meters across. So it's about 60 feet from end to end for Americans. And yeah, you just 5 taps and it's full. And like I said, that happens pretty quick because of the fire rate. So you just zap it for not even a second, and it's maxed out. So with that, let's go into the roles we want to do. Critical hit rate is going to have a fairly minor effect on it because the base critical hit rate is 10%. But there's nothing better to put on here. The lasers aren't affected by magazine size. They're not affected by recoil. They're not affected by accuracy. There's really nothing else to put on. So critical hit rate on there. Your element of choice, of course, you don't want to put two different elements on there because that'll mess with it. And then firearm attack should be obvious, and critical hit damage, of course, is pretty important. Going into the build, we just want to focus on those same things. I was just testing this. Sharp precision shot does not affect the turrets. So we want the conductor of your choice. We want fire rate up, because that's going to, again, affect the turrets. Enhancement of the same type. Rifling of obvious. You want your critical hit damage on there. And it's pointless to put small amounts of critical hit rate on here. You do get a slightly larger DPS increase with the firearm attack over the critical hit rate. Of course, more critical hit damage, and action and reaction over slow fire, or whatever the slow one is called. Slow art. Slow art does 1% more attack, but it reduces the fire rate, which does definitely affect the turrets. And recoil does not affect the turrets, so best of both worlds right there. And on top of this, you could, with adding on more crystallization catalysts, that's what they're called. Adding more crystallization catalysts, you just want to add probably, what's the luck one? The other critical hit ones. This is the critical hit damage, and you could throw on the critical hit rate one. You could throw on other minor things. I don't think they do weak point damage. They're not shooting their heads or anything. So I guess that's the only real downside to the turrets, is they don't do headshots. But pretty much anything that's going to increase your damage, your critical, better insight definitely would probably be my next choice on this one. Critical hit rate, critical hit damage, and base damage. Because most of this other stuff's going to be fairly pointless. I mean, maybe you want to add general round magazine replacement on there at some point just to keep your ammo up. But there's really not much more to add on top of this other than better insight. So that's just whatever kind of flavor you want. Maybe if you're using the base gun, you want to throw more ammo on there. So you want to throw expand weapon charge on there, because the base rounds is only 45, and those expire pretty quickly because of the fire rate. So before, I was running expand weapon charge on this so I could shoot the turret longer, but now it don't matter. So that's the build. Let's get right into the demonstration here. So just like before, you're gonna be in this kind of screen. No, you don't want to place these all right on top of each other, because it's going to make them hard to shoot all three. So you're going to want to do something like this. See, I'm out of ammo already, but that doesn't matter. And you can see the radiuses are pretty big. And they're doing pretty solid damage here. And I will admit, the laboratory is bugged right now. That's only showing the damage of one of these turrets. So you're really doing way more DPS than that. And I'll let these run out, and hopefully it won't be bugged. I think it's already starting to get a little bugged. Those are gonna run, and sometimes it expires after a second, sometimes it tries to catch all the way up. But like I said, the fire rate on this thing is so nuts that it's just doing pretty bonkers damage. And this isn't a boss killer weapon by any way. This is definitely a mobbing thing. But the fact that you can just set these up and continually restore them without really ever having to worry about them is crazy. And there's a huge benefit to playing this with builds like Black Hole Epic, which I did put a video out for yesterday, but had to delete it because there was some audio issues with it. But when you got turrets out and you can just keep these up and then do stuff like yank all the enemies into it, it's just gonna melt them. It's nuts. And the fact that this just doesn't take that much ammo is all the more impressive. So, you know, you can sit here, nuke all these enemies. Oh, I don't have the right mod on for him. There we go. Oh, I can't change it to combat. Alright, well, yeah, that's it. That's pretty much the build. So, yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this. I plan to mod it a little more here. And I hope you guys learned a lot in this video. And let me know what you think about the changes in the comments if you want. And we can talk about that. Peace out.